The book that I co-author right now with another historian, we argue that it has to do something with kind of the narrative that the Soviet Union created, and that is the narrative of imperial innocence. The Soviet Union blamed the West and it's only Western empires that were colonial, but the Soviet Union was a liberating force. And because this idea, this narrative was very attractive, especially in the global South, this propaganda was allowed to oversee the colonial dimensions of the Soviet Union. So it has to do with the narrative, and it has to do with this kind of idea that only capitalism, the whole idea also has to do with kind of with the Marxian idea that was popular all around the world, that capitalism produces colonialism, whereas socialism liberates. However, historical work that has done a great job to uncover the colonial nature of the Soviet Union, unfortunately, it has not gone into the mainstream, but now I think it is quite clear the continuities that we have from the Russian Empire, the Soviet Union, and the post-Soviet. This is something that, despite kind of the economic system, we have the same dimensions. But so European decolonization in the aftermath of the Second World War made the world a more just, more democratic and safe place. Today, nobody questions the rightness of the French, British, or German decolonization. The Soviet Union was the largest land empire here of the Russian colonial empire, which only partially underwent decolonization. The Soviet Union was based on military occupation, systemic crimes against humanity and genocides, forced Russification, and elimination of the understanding of individual rights and dignity of people. And this has been, for historians, this is nothing new. Today, Russia attempts to restore the Soviet Empire based on the idea of Russian cultural superiority and genocidal suppression of peoples. And so decolonization of Russia would mean, I think, first of all, with the recognition of the imperial and brutal nature of the Soviet Union and the contemporary Russian ambitions. Well, secondly, with setting up justice and reconciliation committees to account for past and current atrocities, to restore the dignity of the colonized, such as accepting the past genocides as genocides. For example, the 1944 deportation of the entire Chechen people was recognized as genocide by the European Parliament already in 2004, but we need a larger recognition and awareness of this and other atrocities. It also means decentering Russia as the main player in the former Soviet space by supporting civic initiatives and civil societies of its neighbors and within Russia. Civil societies and the civic spirit based on the political understanding of a nation, as the case of Ukraine has shown again in 2022, is a key precondition for the struggle for decolonial freedom and justice. Moreover, since civil societies are based on debates and therefore advance plurality, tolerance, and respect of human rights, they tend to successfully deal with the issues of overcoming colonial legacies and fostering reconciliation. Decolonizing Russia will mean a safer and more democratic world in Eurasia. Thank you. On the question with the US, again, I agree that this is kind of a very typical way of blaming the West rather than looking inwards. But at the same time, I co-authored the book Imperial Innocence with an excellent historian, Kimberly St. Julian Vernon from the United States, who comes also from looking at the history of Black Americans, and she recognizes a lot of the things that are happening in the United States. So this comparative perspective that we will have clearly shows that one can, that one doesn't have to have slavery to have colonialism. This is the first point. The second point, I think what we need to look at decolonization, and I recently realized that there is imperial understanding of decolonization, and that imperial colonial understanding of decolonization is, divide and rule, ethnic violence, strife, disempowerment. However, the decolonial understanding of decolonization is dignity, human rights, self-determination, political rights. So if we look at not from the kind of colonial understanding of decolonization, but the decolonial understanding of decolonization, it's a chance. It's a chance for everyone. It's a chance for all the peoples in Eurasia. It's a chance for reconciliation. It's a chance for truth. It's a chance for democratic involved, political system. I've spent many years in Germany, and so Germany has been looking at its very difficult past. And can you imagine, Germany would not want to go to these decolonial debates about themselves, and they would just say, the Americans or, the British were worse. That doesn't work. And decolonization in Germany has meant equality, inclusivity, tolerance, democracy. And decolonization, we need to look as a chance. It's a very difficult story. Stalinism and decolonization are not separate. Without decolonization, we'll never have de-Stalinization. We'll never be able, without looking at the imperial dimensions of Soviet dictatorship, we will never be able to work through this Soviet dictatorship. So, and this is a chance for Russians. This is the chance for all of us to build a better future. And what we want is simply to be heard and to be respected. This is an equality, something that was propagated as something that the Soviet Union wanted to install and never did, because, for example, Central Asians had never had a political voice in all of the decisions that were taking place. So this is something that is good. This is something that will build and will be able to a peaceful and respectful coexistence. We need to see it as a good process, as something that is very positive.